Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back. This week's Torah portion is Parshat Vayikra, the beginning of the book of Leviticus. In the beginning of the book of Leviticus, we have with great detail described to us the sacrifices that are offered in the Mishkan in the wilderness. So the question we can ask is, why are these sacrifices described in such detail? Why do we need them? We don't offer sacrifices today. And what purpose do they serve for us? Well, for young children, there's a tradition that we start by teaching them the book of Vayikra, of Leviticus. Why is that? Why don't we start with Genesis or with Exodus? I think the reason is that while Genesis and Exodus tell the story of our people, and they're exciting and it's wonderful, the book of Leviticus gives us a chance to outline the framework, the rituals of the Jewish people. It gives us a touchstone when things get crazy. In a sense, it brings order to the chaos of the world. And that's why I think children start by learning the book of Vayikra, as opposed to Genesis or Exodus and the stories. And this is the tension that all of us have. We live within trying to find a balance between ritual and spontaneous expression. When we see a sunrise or a sunset, we are overwhelmed by the emotion of the moment. But there's a whole bracha that goes along with it. In a sense, recognizing God's sovereignty in the world and that this was part of God's creation. It's a ritual. It gives us a touchstone to say, this is important, and this is important because of our relationship with God. Why is it so important for us to daven as part of a minyan? That we're not allowed to say certain prayers when we're not part of a minyan? Because it gives us a touchstone, a place for us to connect to our community, to be in relationship with our community and with God. Now, I have a question. How many of you miss your morning cup of coffee? Or if you miss your exercise routine, do you feel out of sorts? Do you feel something's different, that you're not quite all together? And the answer is probably yes. And that's because we are all creatures of habit. We like to have things go along in an orderly, appropriate, nice fashion. That's what rituals do for us. They give us the order. They give us the framework. And then within that, we can express ourselves spontaneously. To me, rituals provide a way through the world to help us navigate. Professor Ismar Schwartz, the former chancellor of the seminary, teaches that ritual provides a framework of holiness so that we can navigate through the secularity of our lives. In a sense, what he's saying to us is that ritual provides the ordinary moment with a sense of sacredness, and it raises it to a higher level and helps us through the chaos that can be our lives at different times. I know that when families come to visit me in preparation for a funeral, they very often ask, Rabbi, we're not religious, but what's the right thing for us to do? And I share with them the rituals of mourning. And they seem to find comfort to know that you're going to say this prayer and that prayer. You have to do this. You have to cover windows. You have to wash your hands after leaving the cemetery. These all rituals give them a sense of comfort, because none of us like to be in the unknown. We have a hard time with the abstract, and so we look for ways in which we can connect on our level and in our place. The rituals described in Parshat Vayikra gave the Israelites a tangible way in which to connect to God. Today, we have prayers, a prayer book filled with a lot of beautiful prayers. We recite the Shema and the Amidah. Those are prayers that gives us a touchstone to the community as well as to God. But at the same time, there's space within that for us to offer our own spontaneous religious expression. And that's the balance that we find. On one hand, we follow rituals, and on the other hand, within those rituals, we find space to be ourselves. This week, I encourage you, find time to add rituals to your life. Not just that morning cup of coffee or that exercise routine, but take 10 minutes and offer prayers in the morning to God and to community. Thank God for living. Thank God that you are healthy or that you have prosperity. Spend some time thanking God and being in that relationship with God. And in the evening, do the same thing. You know, there is a ritual that when we wake up in the morning, we recite the Shema, and when we go to sleep at night, we recite the Shema again, a declaration of our faith, witnessing of creation. And through those few moments, we can bring a sense of comfort to ourselves and a sense that within the larger part of the world we have found order and we can enhance our lives. Shabbat Shalom. I welcome you back next week. I wish you a wonderful week.